What's going on? What's going on? All right, let's get right into it. We saw the fight on Saturday between Campbell and Ryan Garcia. We saw Ryan Garcia have a couple of problems, couple of issues in the beginning of that fight. We seen him get dropped, but then after that, we seen him get up. We seen him make adjustments. We saw him break Campbell down, and we saw him, knock Campbell out with a wicked body shot. Get the stoppage, get the exciting knockout, the exclamation point for the day. So it's nothing but congratulations, for him. But after that, as usual, people want to look into the next fight. Like, okay, who's he going to fight next? And we heard a lot of names being thrown out. We heard Devin Haney. We heard Tank. We've heard about Teofimo Lopez. We're seeing moronic DAZN commentators talking about how, Ryan is the shot caller now, so he can do what he wants, which makes no freaking sense. And like I said previously, the only shot caller at 147 pounds down that's not named Earl Prince is Gervonta Tank Davis. He's getting the highest gates, and he's 240,000 plus pay-per-views in his last bout. So especially at 135, 130, 126, whatever it is, he's the only one calling any shots when it comes to anyone that fights him, period. He's the only star that's in that weight class. They got a lot of good fighters, some that have some cachet, but the only true star is Gervonta Tank Davis, and that's by the numbers, period. Okay? But it's one of the names that they were talking about, and but one of the main things that also was being said was they were talking about the fact that that bout was to see who would become the mandatory for Devin Haney, one of them, because Devin Haney has two mandatories. He has the winner of the Ryan Garcia versus Campbell fight, and he also I believe Javier Fortuna is also his mandatory. So some people have been talking about, hey, about that, this is going to be ordered, and that, let's get it on. Devin Haney's talked about it. Eddie Hearn's talked about it, and other people have mentioned it, about that basically being ordered between those two, between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. And is this a fight that, should happen next, or is this fight gonna happen next? Number one, do I believe it's gonna happen next? I'm gonna say no. I believe that as far as Devin Haney, I believe the person that he's gonna fight next is gonna be Javier Fortuna. That's who's gonna fight next. I don't see a fight between him and Ryan Garcia happening at all unless DAZN puts up some crazy money. Because if Ryan Garcia does decide to step up, if the money, let's say they were going to give Ryan Garcia the type of funds where he would make the same amount against, like, let's say Gervonta Tank Davis or Teofimo Lopez, basically Gervonta Tank Davis, who should he fight? I would say 100% would be Devin Haney. Because if he's going to step up to the top guys in the division, out of those three, Devin Haney, Gervonta Tank Davis, and Teofimo Lopez, the best person for him to fight is Devin Haney out of those three. Because when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, when it comes to Gervonta Tank Davis, those two guys are knockout artists. Okay, and Teofimo Lopez is a strong kid. He's bursting at the seams. He's not going to be at 135 that much longer. We're talking probably two fights maybe. And he's up at 140 pounds. He's a big dude. Gervonta Tank Davis, when it comes to the intelligence of boxing, people don't give him this credit. He's a top guy in that division. One of the top guys in boxing, period. He's going to dice you up. He's going to set you up. And he's going to put you to sleep. He has, because of the flaws that he has right now, there's a very high chance of him getting knocked out and being hurt very badly versus those two fighters. And I'm not saying that he is incapable of maybe catching him, because the kid has a lot of speed, he has a lot of power, but he still needs to be polished. You know what I'm saying? He's still not a finished product. There's things that he still needs to learn before he can step to that level of competition. And I've always said previously that he can get there, but it's just going to take him longer than the other guys, which is fine. because other fighters, they've had to do the same thing. I'm just saying if the year is really going to step up against that level of competition next. The other person is Devin Haney. Devin Haney is perfect for him if he's going to step up to that level of competition because he's not going to get hurt. He's not going to hurt you. Devin Haney is a big kid, He's not going to be at 135 that long either, but he's very disciplined when it comes to his training, when it comes to his nutrition. So he's not ballooning up in weight. So maybe he can actually force himself to stay at that weight for a little while. The biggest thing with him, though, is that he has a lot of movement. He boxes a lot, but he doesn't have power. He doesn't hit you with heavy hands. Reality is, especially with the level of skill that Ryan Garcia has, very low chance of him getting hurt in that fight. So if you lose that fight, you're looking at losing your fight 12-round decision. That's what you're pretty much looking at, 12-round decision. And within those 12 rounds, you're still going to have your chances to catch him. And Ryan Garcia has the power where if he catches him, we don't know how Devin is going to react when that happens. We don't know, and there's also a level of experience that Devin Haney hasn't, had to deal with yet. But with the level of competition he has fought, we've seen that he does have a certain high level of skills. And some of the flaws that Ryan Garcia has, Devin Haney doesn't have those flaws. But you still have that better of a puncher's chance against him. And if you lose, you just lose a 12-round decision. You get back to the drawing board. You make your adjustment. You could be right back into the ring in 2-3 months. Fine. Against those other two dudes, just because of the style and what they're capable of doing, you could get hurt. And you could really set back your career. Just like Lubin set back his career, we're talking that type of ish. Could happen to you. When he fought Jamel Charlo, way too early. People, have this. He has a big following. Ryan Garcia has a very big following. The way he talks, the things that he says, it gravitates people towards him. He's great when it comes to promoting himself. Out of everybody, he's probably the best. And people just gravitate towards him. He go heavy on that YouTube, heavy on social media, building up his following. So because of that, there's a lot of attention to him, like I said. And his willingness and wanting to fight the best. Because he wants to fight these guys. It's not like I don't think he's capping. I don't think he's just talking out of his tail. I think he really does want to fight these guys. But his handlers, I don't think, are going to make it happen. And I don't think they should let it happen. I said it before, I'll say it again. Ryan Garcia is a prospect, in my opinion. A prospect that's progressing, actually exceeding my expectations. In his last year or so, he's progressed a lot faster than I thought he was going to be able to do. He's jumped leaps and bounds over where I thought he was going to be. But I believe that take the steps. Don't jump. You already jumped a couple of steps even to get to Campbell. He succeeded. Put him in there against a Linares. Don't drop the level of competition. Put him up in there against a Linares. And let's see what he does against a Linares. Then find somebody. If Devin Haney for some reason doesn't fight Javier Fortuna, put Ryan Garcia in there against Javier Fortuna. Put him up in there. Keep him at that level where he still has to learn. Where he's still going to have issues and problems. And he has to deal with them. So that brain has to work. He has to make those adjustments. Keep him around there for a couple of fights. Maybe 3 fights this year. 3 fights the next year at that level. And then after that, put him in there. He'll be ready. He'll be ready. I believe he's 12 to 24. He's 24 months. I would say he's 24 months away from being a problem for everybody in that division. He's 24 months away from that. People maturate differently. Some people are already off the rip. Floyd Mayweather, 12 months in, put him up again against anybody at 19 years old, he's tearing them apart. That's just what it is. He's on that level. Other fighters, Keith Thurman, it took him a lot longer. What's his name? Yeah, something like a Keith Thurman. It took Kell Brooks. A lot longer, long years, 6, 7 years, a long time. But by the time they got to that point, though, they're ready to go. They're ready to go against anybody, you know? So my thing is, don't push that maturation process and let him bloom. But if they want to throw him in there against the best, hey, Tank is a lot of money. That's a lot of bread, you know, for a Tank fight. We're talking about 400, 500,000 pay-per-views probably. It's going to be serious. You know, you can do that. If the zone Teofimo, I don't see that happening because they're not going to put up that money. And when it comes to Devin Haney, if the zone decides they actually want to invest in that kid and put money up to, you know, where, because two guys, same place, whoever wins, they're a star on your network. They're willing to put up that money. Out of the three, I say fight Devin Haney because I think it's the safest for him and it's the best for him long term if things don't work out. But what I think they're gonna do, I don't think they're gonna put him in there against either one of those three. I'm hoping they go with the kind of route that I'm saying, and they don't just start putting him in there against super low tier competition, because that's gonna be asinine. It's gonna be idiotic. It's gonna be stupid. He's not gonna learn anything. He's not gonna learn. Him knocking out people within 1-2 rounds doesn't teach him anything. You got to keep that competition up where he has to figure things out. And if they do that, he'll be fine. In 24 months, he'll be ready to go. But we'll see what happens in 2021. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.